What is it to love oneself? One way to think about it is if they want to accord one's health and happiness a degree of significance and regard. If you love yourself, you will respect yourself. Love and respect go hand in hand. It is about treating yourself with the same kindness and consideration that you would show to someone you love. On the other hand, the vast majority of us have been socialized to think that we ought to put ourselves last. We do this under the pretense that we are humble or care about others. This is a self-defeating strategy. When you don't put yourself first, you won't be able to do as much for other people as you could. You spend the whole day with yourself, so you may as well learn to love being with yourself. Take a look at the following suggestions if you want to learn how to love and value yourself more. 1. Are you using the right criteria to measure your self-worth? That's what this chapter is all about. It makes a difference to both own and uses the right measuring stick. We often evaluate ourselves based on the society in which we now reside. This is a potential area for error. 2. The second chapter is titled A Beginning to Self-Love in 30 Days. Many industry professionals believe it takes 30 days to establish a new habit. Effective habits secure your intended result. You may make significant progress and generate the momentum necessary to create a genuine breakthrough in your level of self-love in only 30 days. 3. The last chapter is Chapter 3. This is the first step on your journey to genuine feelings of love and respect for yourself. Where do you plan to go after this? The first chapter. Are you evaluating yourself with the proper standards to determine your level of self-worth? How do you evaluate the value that you place on yourself? Is it a question of how much cash you have? The fact that you can wear slim pants without feeling uncomfortable? A successful career and a Mercedes? It's an intriguing question. Most of us have a general idea as to whether or not we should love ourselves given the conditions of our lives. How you believe your kid should evaluate their sense of value is an important question. Do you think that a youngster ought to love themselves more or less depending on whether or not they are? Are you wealthy or low income? Do you find yourself to be more or less beautiful than the typical person? Have they been unsuccessful more often than they have been successful? Were their victories more in number than their defeats? Do you think any of these might be why a youngster could love themselves more or less as they age? Which criterion would you base your decision on? Things that probably shouldn't have a role in determining how much self-love you have. 1. Your academic training. Would you see your kid as having less value if they chose a career path that did not include attending college, such as working as a welder or a teacher in a preschool? If you want to achieve your goals in life, you should attend college if necessary. You do not need to feel guilty about missing the event if you do not participate. 2. Your physical appearance or your appeal. Although your eating habits and exercise regimen significantly impact how you look, most of your physical appearance is determined by factors beyond your control. Your genes, like your eyes color, height, and body appearance, decide things about you. Think of your significant other, a kid, a close friend, or even a beloved pet. Would you have a different opinion of them if you saw a change in their physical appearance? Of course not. Therefore, there is no justification for thinking less of yourself because you do not have the formation of a fitness model or a movie star. 3. Your chosen vocation. Certain professions provide more opportunities for growth and financial reward than others. On the other hand, there's more to life than just making six figures or dissecting atoms. You are doing quite well for yourself if you can pay your expenses, accomplish something you like doing, and yet have enough time and money to do other activities that you enjoy. 4. Your financial status. The pursuit of joy should take precedence over the accumulation of money. According to many studies, one's level of happiness does not grow after reaching $70,000 annually. It doesn't make much of a difference whether you have more money than that. If your current income is lower than that, it may be worthwhile for you to work toward reaching that level. On the other hand, your money has nothing to do with the amount of love you should have for yourself. There have been several remarkable individuals throughout history who haven't earned a lot of money. 5. Your things. When you travel, you'll see differences between individuals in the United States of America and Canada and people in most other nations. Our preoccupation with amassing more is unhealthy. Interestingly, individuals from many relatively impoverished countries frequently perceive themselves as happy than the people in North America. There is always going to be someone who has more than you have. It's not a fight you can win. 6. Your accomplishments and failures. Everyone has both triumphs and setbacks in their lives. You always have the option to try again. People who have achieved tremendous success often have a history of the most spectacular failures. If anything, the fact that you fail a lot is something you should probably use as a reason to be pleased with yourself. 7. The folks who are familiar to you. Do the people you know make you more or less deserving of loving yourself? Do you believe that your inability to form relationships with other people makes you less worthy of loving yourself? It is impossible for circumstances outside your control to serve as a reliable indicator of your value. There's a good reason why we name it self. The fact that these are the same qualities that so many people in our society value makes this list seem intimidating. On the other hand, if you want to love yourself, it's essential to base that love on objective standards. To love yourself, you must first realize who you are and then take steps toward being someone you like and respect. You already have an excellent reputation. Understanding this is the first step toward winning the war. The second component is to noticeably advance oneself on a regular basis. When moving forward, humans experience the most joy. You can choose the destination that this progression will take you to. If you start putting effort into the things you believe are significant, you will feel more content with who you are. The people in our society place a high value on several different things. However, the location of your home has no bearing on the value you place on yourself. Why, whether you lived in Ukraine, Hawaii, or Australia, would it make a difference whether you liked yourself more or less? You have not changed into someone else. It is not up to society to grant you permission to love yourself or revoke that permission. Remember at all times that being an individual is not just your right, but also your responsibility. You have the right, but you also must be an individual. Eleanor Roosevelt. The second chapter. A beginning of love for oneself in 30 days. In most initiatives, waiting 30 days is sufficient to see progress. It is long enough for you to shed a few more pounds or improve the number of push-ups you can do. After a month of practice, you will have a lot easier time hitting a tennis ball. You can even teach yourself to play a basic melody on the violin if you put in the effort. A sufficient amount of time has passed for you to improve your capacity to love yourself additionally. You can learn how amazing you are to yourself in only a month. You may also start to educate yourself on how to properly care for yourself and set yourself on the path of personal development. But acquiring goods that society appreciates has nothing to do with improving oneself in the ways discussed here. It's about molding yourself into the kind of person you look up to the most. A good number of these things may be done daily. It is essential to form routines concerning these things. Your habits are primarily responsible for the level of self-love you experience. The behavior patterns that you choose to engage in will determine the results that you get. Unless you are retired, it may not be feasible to carry out some of these activities daily. Think of them as things you need to do weekly or monthly. Think of this as a challenge to show yourself some love over the next 30 days. Maintain an open mind, and most importantly, have the fortitude to see it through. You'll be happy you did. Day 0. Determine your goals for the upcoming month and a half. When you go out with a specific goal in mind, it is much simpler to achieve that goal. Your vegetable garden didn't get planted last season by mistake. You were planning to put the seed in the ground. The same idea is applicable in this situation. You should try not to waste the next 30 days. Commit to focusing on improving your level of self-love and self-esteem over the next 30 days. It would be best if you aim to offer the next month your best effort. It might be challenging to adjust your regular schedule, especially when you have so much work. Your success will be directly proportional to the aim and drive you to put out. A healthy self-love implies that we do not feel the need to explain to ourselves or to others why we take vacations, why we sleep late, why we purchase new shoes, and why we sometimes pamper ourselves. We are most at ease when we are engaged in activities that enhance the overall quality and beauty of life. Andrew Matthews. Day 1. Learn to be aware. If you cannot accurately assess your existing situation, it will be tough to make further headway. Start paying attention to how you interact with yourself. Then compare it to how you deal with your close friends and family. The vast majority of us are better at showing patience, compassion, and tolerance toward other people than we are toward ourselves. Most of us are far friendlier to total strangers than we are to ourselves. Please take note of the patterns you fall into when it comes to how you treat yourself. Special attention must be paid to the following areas. Self-talk. The contrast between the way you react when you make a mistake and the way you react when someone else does the same thing. Does the way you behave toward yourself motivate you to perform at your highest level? Do you talk to yourself in a manner befitting someone significant and deserving of respect? Do you tend to think and behave the same manner toward yourself regularly? Spend the next month approaching your attitude and actions toward yourself with a heightened awareness of these aspects. Day 2. Enjoy every praise that is directed in your direction. It might be difficult to take compliments when you have low self-love and esteem. Do you have a bad feeling whenever someone compliments you in a manner that draws attention to you? Even though it's best to maintain a humble demeanor in most situations, it's okay to be flattered when someone compliments you on anything. You should begin today by thanking people for their praises and accepting them. A little grin and a thank you are all that is required. Remind yourself that you have earned this reward. You should resist the urge to divert attention elsewhere. People might fool themselves just as much by believing that other people are always thinking about their charms and virtues as if they feel that the world is continuously pondering their unique shortcomings. Elizabeth Gaskell. Day 3. Begin reading a book about yourself if you haven't already. Read a book on self-love for at least 15 minutes every day for the next 15 days, which brings the total time spent reading a self-love book to 90 minutes. You should begin a new one when you have completed the current book. Instead of reading a book, try reading an article on the internet. Find a reliable source, and educate yourself as much as possible on the significance of loving oneself and the steps involved. Here are a few concepts to consider. The Self-Love Experiment is a book by Shannon Kaiser that outlines 15 principles for being more kind, compassionate, and accepting of oneself. How to Achieve Lasting Love for Yourself Through Positive Thinking, Unconditional Confidence, and Unshakable Self-Esteem is a book by Karen Rowe. Consider the knowledge you gain, regardless of the sources you use to get it. Consider how you may use this information in your day-to-day activities. Day 4. Construct your affirmations and use them. It is fortunate that you still have some time left before you put the power of affirmations to work for you, since it takes time for affirmations to have their desired effect. If you repeat anything often enough, you can convince yourself to believe almost anything. Advertisers operate from this frame of mind, and when you think about how much we buy, it can't be that far off the mark. Make everyday use of these tactics to facilitate the reprogramming of your subconscious mind for better self-love via the use of affirmations. 1. Make 10 positive statements to yourself that focus on loving yourself. Remember that on day 1, you worked on raising your self-awareness by being more aware of how you behave and feel about yourself. Construct new affirmations that are grounded on this just acquired knowledge. Affirmations need to have an upbeat and unambiguous tone. An example of an affirmation is saying, "I adore myself entirely." 2. Always have your positive affirmations close at hand. You may keep a duplicate of it in a bit of notepad, on an index card, or your phone. Whatever it is that you plan to always have on you is good enough. 3. Read through your positive statements many times each day. When you have some free time, take out your affirmations and read them to yourself. You might try reading them to yourself and out loud when you feel comfortable doing so. Your affirmations should be something you do both to start and finish each day. It's been years since you started berating yourself, and it hasn't gotten you anywhere. Experiment with being happy with yourself and watch what results you get. Louise L. Hy. Day 5. Try something new that you've been curious about doing. Invest a tiny bit of money in treating yourself today. It's possible that learning how to ride a motorbike, getting a massage with hot stones, or eating cuisine from Vietnam has been on your bucket list forever. Consider it for a while when you've had some time to think about it. Then you need to take action and make it happen. If you can't engage in your desired activity until the weekend, plan it out in detail and commit to seeing it through. Day 6. Admire your body. You may not have a six-pack, have developed a few wrinkles over the years, and need to wear bifocals, but these things are minor compared to what your body is still capable of doing. You can still do many incredible things even if you're not in the best of health. Think about some of the things that the majority of us take for granted. The capacity to perceive things via one's sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Think about the amount of pleasure that may be derived from these senses. The capacity to move about and communicate verbally. How many incredible things are available to you because you possess these two capabilities? It's possible that you already have kids. It's possible that you feel that your physique isn't as attractive as it once was, but that's a relatively minor concern. Everything else is unimportant if you consider how much more that body is still capable of doing. There are days when I recall that it is enough to be taken care of by myself, and I soothe myself by dropping words of encouragement on myself like falling leaves. Brian Andreas. Day 7. Eat a diet rich in nutrients. Treating your body like a king or queen for a day is a great way to demonstrate that you value and appreciate it. Consume food that is beneficial to your health for only one day rather than giving in to your habits and cravings. You are welcome to keep doing what you've been doing for the rest of the month or perhaps for the rest of your life. Day 8. Write a love letter to yourself and send it in. Imagine for a moment that you have the ideal companion or buddy. Compose a letter to yourself in their voice and send it to yourself. Maintain a caring and supportive attitude. You may jot it down on paper, send an email to yourself, or even leave a voicemail with yourself. It is up to you to decide. You need to consider making this a part of your daily routine. Day 9. Ask someone for a favor. Those who do not have a healthy relationship with themselves do not like being a burden on other people. However, seeking assistance is not a burdensome activity. Since you'd provide service to another person, it's only logical to expect that other people would welcome the opportunity to assist you. You are valuable, and in times of need, you should be helped. Consider an area where you may benefit from assistance, and then approach the right individual with your request for help. Begin with a manageable task, then gradually increase it. Day 10. Take away the obsession with being perfect. If you expect nothing less than perfection from yourself, from others, or both, you may be sure that you will never find happiness. There is no such thing as perfect in reality. It is only an abstract concept that can never be realized in practice. You may be under the impression that you've found the ideal partner. But you haven't. You just have not yet encountered the shortcomings of the situation. If you expect nothing less than perfection from yourself, you will never be content with who you are. This is the ideal approach to ensure that you are never happy and are filled with resentment at yourself. You have expectations that are difficult to meet will never result in contentment. Kindness toward oneself and the realization that one's best effort is sufficient are both important. Use today to free yourself from feeling like you have to be flawless. During my study, I concluded that individuals do not practice greater self-compassion because they are concerned that they would become self-indulgent. They consider self-criticism to be the driving force behind their discipline. Because our society promotes the idea that being critical of oneself is the ideal way to behave, most individuals get it incorrect. Kristen Neff. Day 11. Reduce the amount of clutter in your home environment. The majority of us have just too much stuff strewn across our houses. This causes tension and prevents fresh experiences from entering our life since there isn't enough space for them. Although it's not usually pleasurable, cleaning and decluttering may give you a feeling of control over your environment. Your sense of calm and self-esteem will benefit from being in a clean and well-organized area. Today, you should concentrate on completing one place before moving on to the next. Decluttering your home, even for a few minutes a day, may significantly impact over time. Instead of waiting until the circumstance gets intolerable before doing an action, you should learn how to maintain order in the situation. Realize that you are deserving of a home that has a good atmosphere. Day 12. Make some room in your agenda. How much of your time is taken up by activities that you would instead not do? Now, it's true that we all have to do things that we don't want to do, but there are also things that you don't want to do that you don't indeed have to do. It might be a position on the parent-teacher organization, PTO, or a spot on the softball team representing the corporation. Examine your typical month and list the things you do that you don't like doing. Although you must continue making payments on your debts, there are at least a few items on that list that you are not required to do. Don't act in such a manner. Notify the proper persons, and then take advantage of the extra time to do something you enjoy. Your contentment and the use of your time are critical. Day 13. Create a plan to deal with the stress in your life. A poor response to stress may contribute to the persistence of many of life's issues. It's likely because of poor stress management, whether it manifests as reckless spending, overeating, missing out on great chances, or even worse. Finding a way to cope with stress that is both efficient and beneficial to your health may significantly impact the quality of your life. The following is a list of some healthy solutions for efficiently coping with stress. 1. Meditate. Meditation has been practiced for thousands of years, but its current level of popularity has never been seen before in its history. 2. Exercise. You could feel much better if you went for a little jog or did some push-ups, for example. It is also beneficial to your health. 3. Make a call to a buddy. Make contact with someone who cares about you. Most of us are fortunate enough to have at least one person in our lives who can instantly lift our spirits. 4. Let it go. You can learn to let go of your tension through practice, just as you can let go of heavy luggage. 5. Find a way to fix this. If the source of your stress is something that can be controlled, you should focus on maintaining it rather than worrying about it. Take note of when you start to feel anxious and use one of the suggestions above. If you think of anything that is even more excellent, you are more than welcome to try it. If you aren't good at loving yourself, you will have difficulty loving anyone else because you will resent the time and energy you give another person that you aren't even giving yourself, says psychologist Dr. John Gottman. If you aren't good at loving yourself, you will have difficulty loving anyone else. Barbara DeAngelis. Day 14. Create a gratitude list. Even if you have no friends and you have to sleep on a park bench for the rest of your life, there are still things in your life for which you should be thankful. You have even more reasons to rejoice that you are not sleeping outside in the rain. Our society places a far greater emphasis on the bad than on the good. People who travel frequently observe North Americans spend a lot of time talking about the things they dislike in their lives. On the other hand, individuals from different cultures often spend their time discussing things they appreciate. You have the power to shape your subculture and decide to put your attention on the positive aspects of your life. Your assignment for today and the remaining 29 days of the challenge is to compile a list of all the things in your life for which you are thankful. Make a list of everything that will occur during the following month. Include your cozy sofa, the cool air conditioning, your favorite beverage, your closest friends, and anything else you take pleasure in or place value on. Day 15. Exercise. You consistently try to improve your health via physical activity, demonstrating that you care about and value yourself. Getting regular exercise is suitable for your stress levels, as well as your heart and lungs, muscles, and metabolism. It also benefits your self-esteem, and you will appear better. Consider how you may obtain some physical activity while still having fun. You and a buddy may make a standing appointment to go for frequent walks. You could sign up for boxing instruction, or you could play golf. Making physical activity a regular part of one's routine and finding activities that one looks forward to doing are two essential steps in achieving this goal. It is much simpler to maintain a way when it is something that you take pleasure in doing. How can you make working out fun for you? Consider doing it, and then go ahead and do it. When I liked myself sufficiently, I started walking away from anything that wasn't good for me. This included things like other people, employment, my ideas and habits, and anything else that made me feel insignificant. According to my evaluation, it was dishonest. Now I know that it was self-loving of me to do so. Kim McMillan. Day 16. Your social life needs some spring cleaning. At least one individual in our lives contains a place they have no business occupying. It might be an old buddy from high school who uses us for our benefit, an old lover or girlfriend that we should steer clear of, or it could even be a member of your own family who treats you in a constantly unacceptable manner. Perhaps you just can't tolerate talking to the man who works at the deli counter. Who is now a part of your life with no business being there? Create a list of everyone who is currently a part of your life. A spreadsheet would work well for this. Arrange them from worst to most extraordinary in the following order. Get started cutting till you get to the people in your life who provide you joy and significance until you get there. This may take some discussion. Or maybe you just need to refrain from replying to the text messages sent to you by a particular person. Get it done. You are unique and deserving of having other individuals who are as unique in your life. Day 17. Pursue your passions in life. What percentage of each day do you spend actively engaging in an activity you enjoy? After spending the morning frantically getting ready for work, traveling to work, actually doing work, and then driving home, a significant portion of the day has already passed. And yet, it's likely that you haven't spent any of your time doing anything that pleases you. You will never get around to doing the things that make you happy if you keep putting them off until you have more spare time. The most important thing is to make sure that you arrange time in each day to do something that pleases you because you are significant. The pursuits that most interest you should be prioritized. Set aside at least half an hour, today and every day coming ahead, to engage in an activity that pleases you. It makes no difference whether it is absurd or devoid of any significance. If you're having fun with it, that's all that matters. Wallowing in self-pity will get you nowhere. It is necessary to possess the adventurous bravery to accept oneself as a bundle of possibilities and tackle the most intriguing game in the world while making the most of one's best to succeed. Harry Emerson Fosdick. Day 18. Put together some plans for your future. Simply existing is not enough of a challenge. That is typical behavior for animals. You're a human being, which means you have options. Take some time to prepare for the future while enjoying a cup of coffee or a bottle of wine. You have earned the right to live the life you want for yourself. I challenge you to let your imagination go wild and create an intriguing future. Write down what you have in mind. Make a plan and execute it by doing at least one action every day to get it closer to becoming a reality. This is the single most critical step. That implies you need to take the first step right now. Day 19. Keep a diary or journal. A life that is worth living is a life that is also worth documenting. You'll demonstrate to yourself that the events of your life are significant enough to warrant being recorded. You'll also start to recognize the errors you make but aren't conscious of doing now. Your life, too, will become more favorable. After all, you probably won't want to record the same item daily in your journal. You will be resolved to do something worthy of being recorded. It is entirely up to you whether you do it manually or use some kind of word processing software. Beginning tonight, make it a habit to spend a few minutes at the end of each day writing down your reflections on the previous day. Day 20. Give yourself pardon. You have made a significant number of errors in judgment. There were even some that were done on purpose. Find solace in the knowledge that everyone you know has behaved similarly. You've had experiences and gained wisdom. It is time to let go of it and release yourself from responsibility. At least some people in your life can count on you to have a caring disposition, which is undoubtedly the case. Exert at least the same level of kindness toward oneself. Give yourself forgiveness, and then move ahead. You have a wonderful life ahead of you to enjoy. When you're different from everyone else, there are moments when you can't see the millions of individuals that accept you. Since you are, the only thing that sticks out in your mind is the one who doesn't. Jodi Picoult, Change of Heart, Author's Translation. Day 21. Stop seeking approval. When you engage in behaviors to shape how other people see you, you implicitly convey to yourself that the truth is inadequate. You may be nice, but you shouldn't be kind just to have other people see you as kind. Just be nice. Being a decent person and being someone who wants to be perceived as good are two very different things. There is a considerable gap between the two. It's not a big deal if you're a little impatient, sloppy, or don't cheer for the local NFL team. Be truthful while describing your identity. Everyone who loves you will continue to remain in this world. Whoever leaves your life was never meant to be there in the first place. Demonstrate that you are sufficient in your current state and do not need to change. Additionally, living in this manner is much less taxing on one's energy levels. Day 22. Take a seat by yourself. Some individuals can't bear to be in their own company, and you may be one of those people. They are always in need of being stimulated by something different. They need some kind of distraction to sit quietly by themselves, such as the television, the internet, the radio in the vehicle, or a book. Have you ever stopped to consider why those items are needed in your life? Taking a break from them is the most effective way to figure out why they do what they do. If you plan on traveling by yourself shortly, you should switch off your phone and stay away from the radio. Take note of what develops. You may become an enjoyable company for yourself with enough effort. Discover who you are rather than trying to escape being yourself. Spend at least 10 minutes with yourself every day and observe what you learn from the experience. Day 23. Pay your visits to the physician and the dentist. If you prioritize your health, it stands to reason that you care deeply about yourself and value your well-being. Check with your doctor and dentist about scheduling checkup visits as soon as possible. Make a note of the 5 different ways you may improve your health and try to implement at least one of them into your life, even if you are currently taking care of this aspect of your life. Instead of seeking for love to make up for lack of self-love, you should focus on becoming in love with yourself and sharing that love with someone who appreciates you, the author writes. It's all about falling in love with yourself and sharing that love with someone who respects you. Eartha Kitt. Day 24. Volunteer. When you assist other people, it's much simpler to be content with who you are as a person. An abundance of online resources provides listings of volunteer opportunities organized by postal code. Discover something that piques your interest and spend part of your time contributing to a cause that you consider significant. Even just 1 hour each week may significantly affect the amount of self-love and compassion you experience. You'll discover that volunteering also comes with many other advantages. Are you curious to find out what they are? Participate in some kind of community service and educate yourself. Day 25. Sleep. Getting at least 7 hours of sleep every night is one of the few things that will do more for your health, mood, and happiness than getting enough sleep. Even if you believe that you only need 4 to 6 hours of sleep, you should give yourself 7 hours a week and pay attention to the changes in how you feel and operate. Take a snooze, sleep in. Put an early end to your day. There are moments when going to bed is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and other times when it is the least caring. You will have another opportunity to see Rocky or The Notebook when they are rebroadcast. Create a schedule starting today that will allow you to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night for the next 7 nights. Day 26. Establishing and keeping boundaries. You must be willing to endure a lot of ill treatment if you don't love yourself. If you start telling people no to certain things, you could be concerned that they will be offended or won't like you. This is a typical worry. You are not succeeding at making everyone happy, no matter how hard you try. This is the case despite your best efforts. You will never be able to satisfy everyone, but you can always help yourself. You are setting yourself up for feelings of resentment and exhaustion when you endure things that you do not like. The remedy is to have the ability to assert oneself and say no. Share with the world what it is that you need. You won't only earn the respect of others around you, but you'll also feel better about yourself. Day 27. Perform one thing that you are aware you need to perform. Avoid putting off dealing with vital matters until the last minute. Do whatever has to be done, whether it's getting your taxes done, visiting the dentist, or making a difficult phone call. Just get it done. When you deliberately avoid taking care of your responsibilities, you lower your self-respect and self-esteem. Create a list of all the tasks you've been putting off until today, and force yourself to do at least one of them. After that, bring your attention to how satisfying it was to finish that task. Just try to picture how much better your life would be in general if you always took care of the things that needed to be done. You should start writing down everything you need to accomplish and then really do it. Day 28. Put your faith in your hunches. You've lived a long life and have seen and experienced a great deal. You've had more success with some endeavors while others have struggled more. It is reasonable to assume that you have gained much knowledge. Your past experiences provide the foundation for your intuitive abilities. But do you trust yourself? Increase the amount of faith you have in your intuition beginning today. Begin with the less significant aspects. You may feel the impulse to turn right rather than left when you get to the stop sign. Just get it done and see what the outcome is. When presented with several options, ask yourself, which of these options will benefit me the most? Pay attention to and act upon the response. Once again, observe the results. It would be a terrible waste of all of your experience if you were to throw it away. You have gained much information during your life, thus, you should put that expertise and that experience to good use. Keep in mind that the answer that makes the most sense logically may not be the one that works best for you. Day 29. Engage in an activity that will help you appreciate yourself more. The act of volunteering is only one illustration of this, but there are likely other activities that you believe you need to participate in. It may be attending a religious service once a week, studying a foreign language, or meditating for 1 hour each day. Consider the qualities that, in your opinion, should be present in every individual. Make an extensive list. Now, please choose one of these things and get started on it. You may think every guy who cares about himself and his reputation should be able to change the oil in his automobile. You might also believe that everyone should be able to play some kind of musical instrument. Maybe you think everyone should have at least a passing familiarity with the history of the globe. It makes no difference what it is that happens to be. It is totally up to you to decide. Pick anything to work on and get the process started. You are going to be pleased with yourself. Loving yourself begins with having a good opinion of yourself, which in turn begins with having respect for yourself, which in turn begins with having a favorable opinion of yourself. The name of Jerry Corsten. Day 30. Do something for someone else, but keep it a secret. You could have a lot of fun with this, and you'll feel good about how well you did. Pick a target to go after. It may be a member of your family, a friend from work, or even a stranger. Make their day by doing something kind for them. Mowing their lawn, sending them a card, or clearing the snow off their vehicle are all friendly gestures. Find a method to help someone else while also making yourself feel good about yourself at the same time. Day 31. Have fun. Certain months include precisely 31 days. Consider this an added benefit. Enjoy yourself today with a pleasant activity. Join some mates for a game of bowling. Visit the upscale movie theater and get some of that pricey popcorn there. You may even go completely crazy and view the movie in 3 dimensions. Act like a fool and engage in an activity just because you find it enjoyable. Conclusion. You made it. Over the last month, you've made several changes that have contributed to a shift in how you see yourself. In comparison to the first day, how are you feeling now? How would you rank the amount of love and respect you have for yourself? You have been writing in a journal for the last couple of weeks. How have your previous writings in your diary evolved? Do you ever feel that some of the things you do have started to become habits? What things can you do moving ahead that will help you love yourself even more? You have a lot to be proud of, including yourself. Learning to love and accept oneself over 30 days is a significant accomplishment, but it is merely a beginning step on a much longer path. It may take a lifetime to love oneself as much as possible, but the good news is that as you learn to love yourself more, your life will become progressively more enjoyable. You have realized that your value is not contingent on the norms and expectations of the community in which you now reside. You are free to establish your standards. How important is your capacity to value yourself and your advancement toward the ideal version of yourself that you have created for yourself? When you think you are becoming a superior version of yourself with each passing day, you will feel satisfied with who you are. You should immediately consider the many ways you might go ahead from this new beginning point. This is only the beginning of the fantastic things in store for you in the future.